So this is workshop 6, the last workshop in the My New Good Life Plus series. So we're going to kind of look back and look forward, look back at what we've been doing and look forward to what we could do next, depending on what your interests are. So let's kick into that. Of course, you know the objectives, learning and growing as individuals, more effectively supporting our clients, and exploring how we can make a decent living with the My New Good Life material, New Good Life material. And so that's one of the things we're going to be talking a little bit more about today. So that's one of the things I want to focus on. So I have one or two ideas I'd like to explore with you, see what you think. So looking back at the My New Good Life Plus program as a whole, so just in case your memories need refreshing, we're going to have a quick look at that. We're going to explore how you have been, if at all, putting the My New Good Life into practice in your personal and professional lives. And then we're going to look forward in terms of what other revenue earning opportunities might there be for those of you who are independent, and some next steps. What would you like from us going forward? Is there anything else you feel you need in order to really put this stuff into practice? So that's really what we've got planned for today. I've got a couple of questionnaires for you lined up as well. So let's look back at the program. So just to refresh your memories, we had the preparation phase, which set out the context, objectives of the program, etc. And then we went into workshop 1, which was really about understanding the client, the person, and their context. We went into workshop 2, which was enabling clients to create their new good life vision. We looked at helping clients explore their resources. So this followed, apart from workshop 1, we then kind of followed the structure of the My New Good Life program. So first one was create the vision, second one was explore resources, third one was threats. So we didn't so much explore the threats, because I think we did that quite thoroughly in the My New Good Life program, but we did introduce techniques to help you support your clients if they are suffering any kinds of emotional reaction to the threats. And then in workshop 5, we looked at supporting clients build strategies for achieving their new good life. And this final workshop is exploring what you've done with it, any particular cases you've had where you've introduced My New Good Life techniques. So I know some of you have been doing some things, so we're going to kind of explore what you've been doing. And of course, the now famous canvas, some of which some of you I think like it, and some of you probably don't. So for good or ill, this is the canvas. So there's the now of you. In Learning Adventure 1, we looked at the person and context, the essence, gifts, commitments. So what commitments do I need to my protectors or my saboteurs to keep them calm? What's my mission and my vision? And then we also looked at how we can reflect on our clients through the lens of the elements, which elements are particularly strong in them and maybe which elements are weaker. We looked in Learning Adventure 2 at the vision. We briefly reintroduced the kind of Wilbur 4-quadrant model, which was extended with nature and spirit. We looked at polarities and how that could have an impact on a person's new good life. And we also looked at how different worldviews might see a good life. So one person's idea of a new good life could be quite different from another's, depending on their worldview. So that was Learning Adventure 2. In Learning Adventure 3, we explored resources, and in particular, we spent more time reflecting more deeply on the fourfold connection, connecting with myself, others, nature, and something greater. And then we looked at the threats, the external threats, the 7 shadows. We also introduced this idea of, rather than just active hope, we have active accepting hope for a new good life. So that was something we introduced in Learning Adventure 4. And we also looked at internal threats and how you might put some of the things that have helped you in the past but are no longer serving you in the museum, and others that have not yet been dealt with and you're not ready to deal with in the basement. And then in final learning adventure 5 strategies, we looked at the 3 time horizons: improving the present, enabling transformation for the future, and prototyping your new good life. So just trying out little experiments of how your new good life might be in different areas. And we introduced the balanced approach, so the work Bernard had done in managing 2 particular sets of polarities. So that was the overall program. Okay, so inspired by a conversation with Anna and Charles on Monday. So Anna Zangi and I met up with Charles and Anna on Monday, and Anna didn't feel very comfortable with the canvas, so that inspired me to think about another way of visualizing it. So there are different ways you might want to visualize it. I don't think Bernard ever intended for the canvas to be shown to clients. But if you want something you to show to clients, maybe something like what's on the right could be maybe more helpful. So the now is the whole situation. The vision of the treasure island. We've got the commitment to the protectors in various emotional states in the bow of the ship. We've got the essence. So the captain here is clearly adventurous, his essence, and he has certain gifts. And his mission is clearly as a pirate to go and collect gold. And the museum, and in the basement we've got some skeletons. We have the cellar, and then the external world, and the 3 horizons represented by the kind of rainbow. So that we could be creative and find other ways of representing this, and the choice is yours. I'm quite comfortable now with the original canvas, but maybe there are more creative ways in which you could use it. And if you wanted to show it to clients, maybe there are other ways it would be easy for them to get.
Yeah, I think the picture is more visual. The way some people learn different ways, and I think that is lovely. I actually really like that.
Okay, so you can have that for showing your clients if you need to. I'll send around the slide later on if that works better for you with your clients. And of course, you can feel free to be creative and create your own, whatever works. So that was the canvas. Those are the elements of the canvas. Any remarks, observations, insights looking back on the journey we've been through? Any particular comments? Okay, Charles, I've just seen you, and Anna, welcome. Oh, Amy, well, welcome. Lovely to see you. Okay, so yeah, I hadn't noticed how many people had joined. So this is what we've been through.
Suresh has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it's a comment, not a question, but no, I do like that postcard, and actually, it's fine. I'm fine with the canvas. Having understood it better now, it's fine. But the card is a good pictorial representation, and they may well be others. I wanted to just say, one thing that's really resonated with me is the museum and cellar. I used it in my coaching, and I explained to my client, and the feedback I got was like, wow, I've not realized this. Then I had to be really careful what was museum and cellar. So I drew the analogy of a museum like a treasure house. You can have, things that you can visit as and when, and you get inspiration. And the cellar is something that cellar meaning the basement, you store. You don't know when you're going to see it. You probably don't want to see it, but it's going to be there. It may, like have bad vibes on you or whatever, but it's there. It's just there if you ever wanted to visit it to check on something. Yeah, it could be good, bad memory. And I and that person understood it, and I hope I'm right. It leads me into a question list. What is something that you really don't want is the seller actually trash, that you just put it away? But then I'm thinking, as human beings, do we really want to obliterate the past? Because the past is us, even though we may not want to be associated with it. Yeah, but it's there. So where does that fit in? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the way I understand it is that the seller is maybe little small traumas and things that have happened to us in our past, which we kind of know or we don't know are there, and that maybe we're not quite ready to deal with yet. So we park them until the time when we feel strong enough to maybe go down to the cellar and do some cleaning up. So that would be, and it kind of resonates with me because I'm doing that exactly in my house. After many years of storing stuff and not looking at it, I've decided I have to go right down to my cellar, into the cobwebs and the dirt, and clear things out. And because I feel ready to do it, I've reached a stage where, okay, there's enough collecting in my cellar. It's time for a clean out, deal with some of the stuff, confront the stuff that I've been putting down there and just ignoring. So in a way, that's how I see it being used. I don't know whether anybody else has any reaction to that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of parking stuff that maybe you don't feel ready to deal with yet, but you'll come back, you'll come back to and clean up a bit later when the time's right.
My question is, sorry, Ken, what if it's something that you don't ever want to see and you just want to just delete it?
Well, then I think you have to go down to
Can it still be in a cellar then?
Yeah, so that would be, I guess it'd be down in the cellar because it's there and you haven't dealt with it yet. You can't get rid of it. The only way out is through. The only way to really get rid of it is to process it, which means you have to build up the courage to go down to your ugly cellar, fight your way through the cobwebs, bring it out into the light, deal with it, and let it go.
Okay,
I think you have to, you can't get rid of it by putting it in the cellar because there's part of you that knows it's still there.
Wonderful. So we have to deal with the past, whatever it takes. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
got it.
you don't. I mean, sometimes I guess many people die never having dealt with stuff that's down in their cellars. So it's it's a question of, do I feel ready? Am I able to deal with it? Joanna, I see your hand's gone up. Do you want to add something?
No, I just interesting listening to both of you. Yeah, I'd agree. Like out of the canvas, I found the museum and the basement very intriguing, and I've used it a lot for myself as well. But the way I look at it is the basement cellar. That's there where we have a lot of stuff, as we say, we're not too proud of, maybe are not happy with, or things have went wrong, or maybe just sadness or different things in the past. But they're there, but sometimes they're there and we haven't been able to deal with them. But as time goes on, it might be 5 years later or something else happens, or you mature, your experiences, when you go back to the cellar, to that thing, it's not as bad as it was, or it's not, or you've learned to live with it. You've accepted it and learned to live with it, and put, you see it now as part of who you are. It was part of your past, the learnings from it, and you move forward. So that's how I see the cellar. And there'll always be things there, maybe relationships or things that you might never resolve, or stuff that might be little things, but they're there. But I think a lot of the stuff is, you can, when you look back, hindsight's a great thing. And as you grow and experience life, some of those things are not as what we thought they were when we go back over them, or if they crop up again for whatever reason, if that makes sense.
I think Kensa wanted to say something. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Thank you all. And thank you, Suresh, for bringing that out. It's really a good concept. And I think that exploring with the client, just to check on them, how they feel about what they have in a cellar, in the basement, and how they perceive basement is, and the museum. And museum is, as you said, Suresh, actually something that we treasure and we want to keep and like to be reminded. But for me, in cellar also means that things I cannot let go. Even if, and this is a very nice concept to explore with the client, what does this seller means for them? And we are so attached to things that taking the client through the concept of what they want to let go, to clear out of the seller, what they don't need to, and in that way maybe to go through the things they maybe dread to go through emotionally. And this detachment and attachment, in my in my mind, are nice ways of museum, seller, and so on.
Yeah, I love it. You see, I think it's the thrust of what I'm saying is let the client decipher what resonates with them rather than we give the definition. So if we just put a ballpark like treasure house or, you know, something that you
Yes.
want to just dump, and then they just say, yeah, but why do you say seller? And I'm teasing here, right? It's where my wine will be matured, will get better, over time. Then what I'm going to tell my client, like, you're wrong. No, I will never tell that because that's how they see the seller, that it can be also positive that, I think Amy was saying, right? Was it Amy? No, no, that Irish lady. Oh, you've moved there, Johanna.
Joanna. Yeah.
Joanna, where they feel prepared to revisit the past, something like that. They're ready to do it, yeah. So it really is the client take. I think we can offer nuggets a little bit, but let them interpret it and not question them unless it's terribly wrong. And there's no right or wrong really, because I think it's how they perceive, and they can see the distinction between the two, right, in their own way.
Okay, thank you. Amy, I see your hand's gone up.
It is. Morning, everyone. I guess I have two things to add that I fully agree with the sort of the split between the basement and the museum.
Yes.
I'm now getting confused with cellars. And I guess that's where, from an ethical perspective, that's where we have to be conscious of the boundaries between coach and therapist. But I fully agree that we need to acknowledge what's in the cellar and understand how that might impact our behavior or our beliefs or our interpretations of sort of what's happening within our new good life. And I guess that's that understanding where we can help them, or when then it's like, actually, this is the point that I now hand you off to a therapist. And then the other thing I wanted to add, which is just sort of a personal belief and understanding in terms of what you put in the basement and at what point you work with it. I've done quite a lot of work on somatics and understanding the impact of what you're sort of pushing down and how that impacts your body, having been ill. And so I'm quite a believer of at the right time trying to work through what's in the basement, because it can have long-term implications for your health if you continue to ignore it. But that's a personal belief on that one.
Thank you.
Rob, also Anna, you added Johari's window in the chat. Would you like to say a little bit?
Yeah, so the idea is because we are not always aware. So if you know the Johari's windows, the idea is that there are things that we are not even ourselves aware of. So they are like some things are our private garden, and we don't want the other people to see them, but we are aware of them, and other things we are not even aware of them. So I think that the Johari's window offers 4 possibilities, and here we have the basement and the museum, which only offers 2 possibilities. So we can always go further down into these things. So.
Yeah, so Johari Windows, I don't know if you've heard of it. Okay, so I just want to put you into small groups and maybe just have a quick conversation about what you appreciated about the program, maybe which certain elements about it, could be case studies or videos or whatever. And what we really want to know is, what way do you think it could be improved? So just a quick conversation to collect any ideas to help us out with improving this in the future. So I wanted to also reflect on putting the Mind Your Good Life into practice. So the idea here was just to think about how you managed to put the New Good Life concept and tools into practice in your personal and professional lives, or what are you planning to do in the near future. So I think what we'll do is we'll keep this in plenary because I'm conscious of the time. I know some people have taken parts of the New Good Life concept and tools and built them into their training programs. I know Suresh was mentioning how he was using some of the concepts in his individual coaching, the idea of the cellar and the museum. I'm just wondering, any other thoughts in terms of how you've managed to apply this already in either your personal life or your professional life? Just to capture any ideas you've had, how you've started experimenting, anything in particular you've done so far. Sandra, I see you look like you're writing away. You're in the chat, or okay. Any reaction in terms of how you've already been applying it, so that we can just learn from our experience, just share experiences? Charles, I know you, Charles, and I think Anne, you've managed to create some kind of product that you're now marketing. So I think I saw Charles had a website marketing a program, and I think you've done the same, Anne. So you've obviously taken the initiative and gone a little bit further with it in terms of creating your own offer. Anything else people have done that we can kind of learn from each other? So we wanted to look at, those coaches, participants who are independent and interested in earning revenue, we wanted to just explore revenue earning opportunities, because the more revenue earning opportunities you have, the more likely to use it, and therefore the more difference it's going to make. So we were talking with Anna Squared and Charles on Monday, and we kind of looked at these three sort of applications. So you could definitely use this in coaching, using the New Good Life as a kind of a toolbox and adapting it to the client's needs. There's a kind of a hybrid that Anna Zangi, you were talking about. So you could kind of guide people along a set learning journey, but use coaching to go into more depth in certain areas. Or you could just run it as a training program. So I wanted to explore these a little bit more detail. Any questions, reaction before I do? Okay, so just the toolbox idea. So hopefully with the coaching guide, you've now got an approach that you could use so there's the kind of process that was included in the coaching guide that I sent you around a few weeks ago. So that's at least a way in which you could use the New Good Life concept and tools in your coaching practice. If any of you missed that or need kind of a refreshing on it, let me know, because I'm not sure everybody's been involved in every session. But if you've missed that and you're interested, let me know. We came up with this approach for using New Good Life concept and tools in your coaching practice. And the coaching guide is available. And then there's a kind of a hybrid of training program or opportunity, I think. I guess because I'm probably trainer first, coach second, I tend to think more in terms of training programs. And so, we have My New Good Life, which you originally followed. We had the New Good Life Plus, which was designed to help you put it to practice. We're thinking about going further into how to bring this into organizations. So we're starting to reflect on additional programs, and we want to find out today whether that is of interest to you. And we also have been putting some effort into a kind of a slightly lighter version of the My New Good Life program, which we thought could be perhaps easier for non-coaches. And so that's My New Good Life, Thriving in Disruption. So I wanted to briefly go into that in case you think it could be an opportunity for you. So during the program, we explored two personas. We had the Ava persona. So she is kind of my idea of a ideal client for us, in that she's sort of going through midlife transition phase and is also global threat aware, and so is starting to feel drained and questioning the meaning of her work and future. So we thought she could probably be quite a good persona for the New Good Life, My New Good Life program. Anne came up with Martin, the 42, well, the engineer in the automotive industry. And we explored Martin. In fact, I played Martin in the coaching sessions with Bernard. If you haven't seen the coaching sessions, let me know and I'll make sure you get them. So there are at least a couple of personas that seem to be personas you met regularly. And so we started thinking about how could we design a program that would be of assistance to them. And so we had this kind of My New Good Life Light program, which the light was a code word until we found a better name. But we're now calling it, for the moment at least, Thriving in Disruption, a structured program for adapting and growing under uncertainty and change. And so the program I gave you partial access to a month ago on Sutra. So some of you should have had access to this demo version. But basically, what we do is we cover the now in terms of the first week would be taking stock. We look at the kind of challenges you've had, maybe how you've got to where you are, first phase, middle phase, and the now. So taking stock. We had the vision, so that the next week in the program, you explore your New Good Life vision. What is it actually you would like in your New Good Life? Then we deal with the commitments in terms of learning how to deal with the inner saboteurs or protectors, depending on your perspective, and what do we need to give them in order to keep them happy, to enable us to proceed along our journey. So that would be week 3. And then we move into the essence and gifts. So we explore what is really my essence, what are my gifts, in terms of exploring identity in week 4. And then we look at the external world in terms of people around us, how they might support us or work against us as we go forward towards our New Good Life. And then we have the museum and the basement. In a way, we put a patch on the protectors in week 3 with Regulate Self. Here we work more on them in terms of which ones could go into the museum and which ones do we need to leave in the basement or the cellar. And then we come back and we look again at the external world, but this time in terms of the threats that are in the external world and how our path towards a New Good Life needs to take account of those global threats. And then we look at a mission. So what do we want to achieve given who we are and what's going on in the world? So kind of integrating all that's happened into a sense of what our mission is. And then we look at planning through the 3 horizons, and that's designing for action. And then we finish with making sure as we move towards our New Good Life, we're maintaining a balance with the balanced approach. So that's the program as it's currently designed. And so we've completed the kind of first draft of the program, and we've put the first 3 or 4 weeks into the demo site for you to have a look at. And so we're kind of working on that and taking feedback and improving that as we go. Any reaction to that before I carry on? Any questions? That makes sense? So this is if I were one of you and I wanted to make some money at it, what I would do is to kind of offer it as a learning journey, either as a training or as a sort of hybrid coaching training. So I'd maybe think about getting a group of 10 people together, taking them through and doing a sort of a group coaching as we go along, possibly working with individuals who wanted to go deeper into particular aspects. So I guess, given who I am, that would be an obvious thing for me to do. And maybe that'd be something for you. Any reaction, questions?
I had a quick look at it and did like the structure of it, and it was much more accessible than some of the stuff we've been reading on Sutra. For instance, I like the elements, the stories with a little picture. Seems quite simple, but I was like, oh, that was, and it wasn't long. It was like the story was, you know, a 2-minute read. So I was like, oh, this is optional, but I will read it because it's really short. And it did look like it just naturally set itself up for you could just do this on a weekly or bi-weekly. I liked you suggested just each question is 15 minutes per day. And that just seems like it's manageable with your clients. And I like working with groups of people and getting people to share their experiences and feel like it gives them energy and they know that there are other people who are in the same position to them. So I would also, you know, as you say, it falls naturally into sort of either working with an individual or with a group.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what we've also been thinking about is how could we put this into language that would maybe work more for organizations? So one of the things that actually ChatGPT came out with was it seemed to be developing 3 core competencies. So it seemed to be developing personal resilience, more clarity in uncertainty, and somehow leadership maturity and maybe greater stakeholder intelligence. So one of the things I think if I were trying to sell this to an organization, I would need to simplify it and tell them really why it's beneficial. So I think this would help me sell it to an HR person. And I'm trying this with Joost, who is working for Toyota, and he says that he thinks this is more accessible for general HR people. So I think I could use this to explain how the program might help an organization, because we're focusing on 3 core competencies and the elements are combined. And so you can look at it in more detail later on. So the focus areas, the focus on resilience and disruption. We used modules 1, 3, 9, and 10. Basically, the question we're addressing is how do I respond intelligently when disruption hits, kind of stabilize, regulate, and act. And then strategic clarity and uncertainty. How do I think clearly and choose direction in volatile environments? Kind of envision, think about where I'm trying to get to, conceptualize and align. And so we could take 3 modules from the 10 module set and put them together to address that particular competence set. And then the leadership maturity and stakeholder intelligence, maybe it's week 4, 5, and 6. So this is just first ideas about, if I was kind of conscious that people might say 10 weeks, we'll never get them to do 10 weeks. And maybe we'd have to chunk it up. So I could imagine putting the modules together in different combinations to address particular needs. So that is one idea. Any comments or questions on that? Does that make sense? Does it seem to help? Am I going too fast? So basically the idea was to take the 10-week program and try and chunk it up into, okay, what does this deliver for an organization or a person within an organization in the sort of language that they might be able to understand?
There's a huge amount of content in it, isn't there? I mean, it's brilliant.
Well, perhaps it's me, but I do like this sort of modular approach, so we can put things together in different combinations to address different needs. So this is sort of a first set of ideas, but going forward, maybe this is an area we could explore further. How do we put them into different packages to address particular needs? So that's just an idea.
Is it like if there were 3 modules, but the modules then would that be broken down into a number of sessions?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So you'll see this in the PowerPoint slide. So if it's going a bit quick, you'll have a chance to reflect on it in the afterwards, and we can come back and explore it if there's any interest. And so the demo is there, and I think, yeah, the first 3 weeks are kind of in outline. We've got some ideas in terms of how we improve them, and we've been thinking about more kind of somatic elements to them, to add to them. And Anna's been through My New Good Life, picking out a few of the videos that really seem to resonate and maybe add a little spice. So we're gradually upgrading the basic program to make it a little bit more exciting and hopefully impactful. So that's what's going on.
Oh, and the other thing is we also trying to build in some experiential aspects, right? So that there is some embodied work as well. Nothing too heavy, you know, but still that it you know, constantly brings back that idea of, you know, alignment in body and mind, etc. So
yeah, so what we're trying to do is to build the fourfold connection into the program. So when we're looking at it, it was clear that we hadn't really addressed one of the core elements of the New Good Life toolbox, which was the fourfold connection, connecting with myself, others, nature, and something greater. And so we're trying to weave that in as well.
Can I jump quickly, just because maybe I didn't understand it correctly, to clarify? Lite is separate than Thriving in Disruption, right? It's two. We're talking about two different programs, or did I misunderstand?
Well, the My New Good Life Lite was the original code name for this version of My New Good Life, which was slightly easier for the average person to go through.
Yeah.
And so My New Good Life was just a code name. The name we're settling on now is something called My New Good Life Thriving in Disruption, because we think that would be easier for people to understand. So we're trying to put it into a language which is easier for people to understand, so they understand, what do I get out of this program? So we can say you get 3 core things out of this program. You get more ability to be resilient in times of change, you get a clearer sense of direction, where you're going in life, and also being more proactive, taking leadership. So it's just a way of explaining it in simpler terms, so that people can understand, what does this program actually give me? So did that answer your question?
Yes, yes, Rob, thank you. And that takes me to the other one for the organization, as it's exactly as you said. Okay, what is this giving me? And with the organization, obviously, it's the numbers and how do you measure what it gives an organization. Probably that will be tightly connected when presenting this to an organization.
Yeah, so we have we're working on a brochure with a kind of pre and post assessment, so which we're kind of looking at the moment. So giving people an assessment which can assess them against those 3 sets of competencies before they start and afterwards, so that we can see what kind of change the program is bringing about. So this is the start of something I think we could start to take into organizations. Bernard is working away and thinking about what goes on beyond My New Good Life Plus, which maybe comes out later on in the year. But this, I think, is a first step in terms of something we could actually go to an organization with, because I think it's starting to be in the kind of language they would understand. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
That's okay. So I just want one little thing to go. Okay. So now I'm really keen to find out what else you think you might need. So given the time we have, I don't think I'm going to be able to do what I wanted to do, but what I was thinking about, what would be helpful for you going forward? Do you want some sort of coaching practice club? So where we could come together, practice on each other, look at case studies, and explore how to really put this into practice, so that it becomes natural and easy for you. Is that something you'd like? Are you interested in some kind of marketing and sales club, where we get together and we explore together how we can start to sell this. So, I mean, Anna and I are still kind of connected in different ways to positive intelligence. And this is the kind of thing they did. They have a group of people going through sort of a process where we start to reflect on, okay, how could we actually start to sell this? What kind of approaches? How would you want to be put into the website? So this would be a club that would help you turn this into revenue. So that was one idea. Maybe there's a need within the group for some kind of training facilitation group where we explore how can we start to create programs out of this, which we can take our clients through in various sorts of modes, just pure training or kind of a hybrid training coaching. Or is there some kind of interest in organizational consultant club where we have a group of us who are interested in working with organizations, and we want to explore how we can use these concepts and tools as we go into organizations. So the question really is what next? And I do have